Number 1. Leader of men. The dimorphism is so immense that even weak men start acting feminine towards you, let alone women. They'd fawn over you, admire you, and follow your footsteps. There is a good reason for that. A man retaining seed tells his body to reabsorb the life that already has been created inside one's body. When released inside a woman, that life energy is converted to a human being with proper nourishment. Such is its power. Nothing can replace this fluid of life. A man's seed is irreplaceable. We think we understand seed, and that it is only a bunch of vitamins, minerals, glucose, protein, and the sort. If that's the case with all the science we have today, why could we not manufacture human seed in the laboratory? Mind you, we can manufacture an artificial one in a test tube and nurture babies through it, but not the seed. A retaining man sends a message to his body to reabsorb the seed cells. The body thinks the host cannot donate seed in his current form. Reabsorption brings life back to its host. The reabsorption starts upgrading the skin, the prefrontal cortex, hair, overall fluid energy, and regulating hormones that in turn enhance the host physically and mentally, but still limited by its genetic and evolutionary parameters. This spare energy takes a lot of forms. It manifests itself as charisma, wit, courage, audaciousness, physical health, and many other things. Personally, it feels like 24 hours and 7 days a week high. The rest of the world, including weak men, notice this energy difference between you and them. They get immensely curious and are attracted to this mysterious energy bubble around you. Wanting to know your secret, they'd flock around you and follow what you do, wanting to reciprocate your actions. They ask about your workout routine, what food you eat. Number 2. Self-care. The very first relationship you harbored when you came into this world was and is with your body. Your primary relationship is with your body first and everyone else second. Your mind and your body deserve your love more than anyone else. Treat it with very high regard, with utmost attention and care. It is your best friend, your lifelong partner, and you can only experience the world through it. Hence, be aware of what you put inside your body along with retaining seed. Stop eating processed food, read the labels, stop eating all added sugar, get acquainted with all the bad ingredients. Eat vegetables. The food industry cares about profit and hence retaining the customer. The only way customers are coming back is if the food product releases a large hit of dopamine in their bodies. Dopamine hits are only possible with a concoction of a certain ratio of sugar and fat, usually found when certain sauces and cheese are combined, which is very unhealthy in the long term. Even the healthier options contain a hecton of sugar and fat ratio to keep you coming back. They know dopamine controls the customer. Even if the customer knows it's bad for their health, they still can't control their cravings. They are in a vicious circle of reliving the memory of their first dopamine hit from these foods. Even the sugar-free sauces have extra sodium to compensate for the lack of taste, which is equally as bad. The food industry does not care about its customers' health. It even greases the economy because first you pay for the slow poison and then to the hospitals for the treatment. One of the most common causes of death in the US is obesity. I'm sure more countries will follow suit as the fast food industry grows even more. By the time you turn 45, the variety of food you will be able to consume will be cut to a quarter of what you can eat now. In another decade, it will be 6.25% of the variety you could originally consume. In old age, it's your body that is by your side and on which you can depend. Cherish it. Number 3. Awareness. I should have put this one at the top. Your body gives rise to attention. Attention is the single most powerful tool that puts human beings on the apex of the survival pyramid and on the top of the food chain. Humans have no other thing going on for them except their ability to think without emotions. You should be grateful for being born as a human, better yet as a man. You are fortunate you do not lose vitamins, minerals, and life energy blood like females do every month painfully. This life force leaves all female bodies without their consent, and there is nothing they can do about it but endure it. We are different. We can endure the craving and reabsorb that life within us. We humans have a unique ability to distance our emotions from our thinking process. The thoughts saturated with emotions are often called instincts or impulses. Impulses or instincts are one-dimensional, non-complex, and shallow. To give an analogy to explain the difference, I'd say impulse is brute force and critical thinking is surgical. Only a thought devoid of emotion carries the potential to be deep, logical, complex, intelligent, and wise. Our ability to think with indifference makes it possible for us to accomplish complex tasks and sit at the top of the food chain. Without critical thinking, we are the same as any other animal in the wild. Even inside the human race, we can notice this disparity in the food chain. People who act on impulse, druggists, criminals, etc., they belong to the very bottom of the human hierarchy. Similarly, people with highly developed intellectual capabilities like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Einstein, and Nikola Tesla, who are far from being impulsive and animalistic, sit near the top. People like these do not need daily motivational quotes because they are motivated intellectually through internal dialogue, not from their ideas or from their emotions. Motivational videos and quotes elicit an emotional response in the majority of humans, that is emotional motivation, and you cannot depend on emotions at all. I can't imagine Steve Jobs or Elon Musk touching themselves for feminists 6 times a day, and then coming up with the smartphone idea or the electric car the same evening. Can you? You see, these guys distance their emotions from their thoughts. Their urges have no control over their intellect and hence their actions. My point is, meditation trains indifference and stoicism inside you. Let me first explain the process of meditation scientifically. You sit down doing nothing but watching your own breath, not even thinking. Sooner or later, you find yourself occupied with certain emotional thoughts of the past or worries of the future. Through practiced alertness and conscious effort, you remain indifferent to these thoughts. You build indifference toward any emotional thoughts arising in your attention space. When you are indifferent toward the thought of someone or something, you eventually become indifferent toward the object of thought. This is called willpower. Before relapsing physically, you relapse mentally first. Willpower simply means the power to talk yourself out of doing vicious, unconscious, recurring emotional actions or impulses through logic and reasoning. This dialogue usually happens sometime before the physical relapse and after the mental relapse. The triumph of reason over emotion is called willpower. The triumph of vision over instant gratification is called wisdom. Eventually, you distance your thoughts from emotion, and your thinking prowess becomes penetrative, intuitive, and higher than the average Joe's. Of course, a person not on seed retention will not be able to meditate because they will be carried away by the emotional thoughts and brain fog in not more than 2 seconds into it. You need at least 2 weeks of retention, if not more, to properly be alert and have the energy to stick to the monotasking of watching the breath and not getting distracted.